Hi, everyone. Welcome to GradMissions Office Hours. We are back talking about residency applications because we sort of chased some rabbits last time. I think we covered good information, but there's still a lot more to cover. So, good morning to you, Lizanne and
Good
Logan.
morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, so we were chatting a little bit before we hopped on to record this about some of the experiences that Logan and I have had with students entering the match. Some of them with great experiences and some of them that had a little bit of a bumpy ride. So, how do you think our applicant, our goal in grad missions is for no one to ever have to reapply to law school, to med school, to residency, whatever it is. Our goal is for you to be one and done. And Logan, if you were kind of crafting the process for someone with the intention of a solid match experience, what are some of the things that these residency future hopefuls should be thinking about?
I think one key piece, you're providing so much information that you also want to utilize every space to introduce something new about yourself.
Mm.
Some of those spaces are, your activities and experiences, your personal statement. You also get three unique characteristics on your dean's letter or the MSPE. And you don't want to just be repeating your same story everywhere because the truth is, these are busy physicians reading these applications, and it's kind of like in education where if you say something once, no one heard it. You have to say it 3 times, 10 times, 20 times for someone to hear it once.
Hmm.
You never really know where someone is going to pick up information from you. There are
Hmm.
personal statement people, there are activities, bullet points kind of people, you know, so you want to diversify what you're putting in different places
Hmm.
so that you have the best opportunity of someone picking up what they wanted to learn from you. I think you have to remember is that they're picking coworkers essentially. This is, in my opinion, different than applying to medical school or law school. They're essentially it's a job interview, right? Like
It
they're
is
picking
so much
coworkers,
more a job interview.
right? And the people that they're going to spend all the time with. So they're looking for something interesting about you, like that, I don't know, you play the guitar or you read 1,000 books in a year, or they're looking for those human elements.
Yes, I had a Formula One match this cycle. Like the applicant
Oh,
and the
like
attendant
they
eked out over Formula One. And it was like I had to do nothing else after that.
I would have been all in on that. At first, I thought you were saying that like they worked for Formula One or something, and I was like, hold on, wait, let's talk about who this is. No, as an interest, 100%. Drive to Survive. Yeah, no, that I mean, I was just excited about this person that I don't even know.
Exactly.
That I'm like, oh, I like that too. I want to know this person. That's exactly the feeling that you want to try to create on, all the different aspects of your application. You just want that one piece that someone's like, ooh, I want to grab a beer with that person or whatever it is that, the
Exactly.
feeling
The
is.
late nights, the like patient stress, the call, all of those things, like you're going to be spending a lot of time together. And so I completely agree. You need to give them, sort of like in the med and law school apps, enough tethers to grab onto, right? Like you're just providing all these potential connection points while you also prove how smart and capable you are.
Yeah, and nothing's too insignificant, right?
Mm. Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff that unites us is that kind of insignificant stuff. The fact that you did, during COVID, you operated vaccination efforts in your community. That's great. I'm so thankful for you. So did lots of other students during that time. I mean, COVID was on the backs of medical students, if we're going to be honest, in terms of vaccine administration
Oh,
throughout the
I just got
community.
chills. You're exactly right. It was all that free labor.
It was all that free labor, which so thankful for and
Yes,
such, great experience as well. But lots of students did that. Not every student loves Formula One,
that's
you
right.
know?
That's right.
I even at our medical school where we worked, they would have Formula One watch parties in the lecture hall on the weekends. So, I think that type of experience
Yes.
is,
Or like they
something that
liked the same football club or
yes,
you know, throat music. Like these are the connection points that have been meaningful. And like the applicant that time was like, should I even mention throat music? It's sort of obscure. I'm like, just throw it out there. Oh, it's stuck. Someone was like,
you
oh,
never know.
I'm so into that. Like,
Or
what?
they're just so intrigued. I even know when
Yes.
I have read applications for, positions that I was hiring or something, if someone had something so interesting on there, the dean and I would be like, we have to interview this person. I have to know more about this thing. I don't even know if they're a good fit for this position, but I must know more.
Mhm, mhm. And those are the things that you're not going to see in a formulated template or recommended by Reddit, right? Because people, and that is the thing, when you are looking for mentors in this application process, whether it's law, med, residency, beyond, of course you should consider people who were successful in their endeavors to get in, right? They had a good match. They got into their number one law or med school. Of course you should listen to them. But at the end of the day, those folks only know what got them in, right? And so their path is not necessarily going to be your path. And when you try to take your lived experience and like match it up into what you think theirs looked like because theirs was successful, it's not going to necessarily be authentic unless they are a clone of you. So it is okay to be uniquely yourself. What's the best way to frame all of that, Logan? How do you balance that competency and that warmth in your residency application?
I think the personal statement is a great place to do that.
Mhm.
That's probably the most robust area that you would have to kind of share your story and paint your picture in a creative way. Um, because a lot of the other aspects of your residency application are intended to be brief
Yeah.
because they're reading through a lot of them. They're just trying to pick out the highlights in terms of your activities, maybe any comments that you have on your dean's letter from faculty. They're just trying to get some quick data points.
Mhm.
But the personal statement, I think, is where you really get to share your personality
Mhm.
in a way that you can't necessarily in bullet points.
Yeah.
I mean, Autumn, you do a lot of work on personal statements. That's kind of your magic.
Yeah, we do a lot of that. And that's why this work is so intense. That's why, I mean, I can't tell you, probably 3 times a day, I get a request either on Instagram, TikTok, in my email inbox saying, "Hey, will you just read my personal statement? Will you just give me some edits on this? Or can you just help me, do this one element or that one element of my application?" And my answer is no. You cannot throw a rock without hitting a company who's happy to help you proofread and edit, right? Like you can find that no problem. What we do at Grad Missions is deeper work. It is mentorship, it is relational. Once we know you and we're working with you, you're sort of stuck with us for life. You only have to pay us once, but like we're with you. And the way that we were able to develop and curate the kind of personal statements that make deans of admissions at med schools say, this is the best personal statement I've read in 20 years. Like, this is the feedback we get on the work that we do together. And that is not to center me and to say that I'm amazing. What we do is really get to know you and we get to know the things that make you light up. And when we find the things that make you light up, we align them with your goals for this admissions process, this application, and then we help you tell that story. And we wordsmith it. And sometimes those character counts can feel so cumbersome, but to me it's like a challenge, right? Like um there's a tangent that I could take right now, but I'm not going to take it because I have self-control. But it's taking it and operating within the confines that we have in that essay and making sure that every single element of that essay absolutely sings. There's not one sentence in a personal statement once we get it to the finished product. There's not one sentence that we could take out and drop into another personal statement and it would make sense, right? Like it is so uniquely you, flavored, curated exactly for you. And so I'm thinking about a recent residency app, Logan, that we've been working on. And this applicant has a very rich history, right? They have all kinds of things going on in their life. And so the task for us has been to really find the through line, find the cohesive part. There are some sticky parts that we're having to manage. We've put them at the very front. We're going to just tackle that elephant in the room head on. We're going to acknowledge it, and then we're going to move on and talk about all the incredible things that this person has done and specifically tailor it to the specialties that they're interested in because that is an element, in the law and med school application space, we tailor it why this law school, why that med school, what are the specific things that are the reason you're applying there. And then in residency, it's really tailored to the specialty. And I think that's where the crucial work happens.
You brought up a really good point about maybe some of those pieces of your experience that perhaps you wish had gone a different way or maybe were a little easier. You can't hide from those,
No.
right? You have to own it, and you might have some splaining to do, and that's okay, right? I mean, that's what honestly, that's what your whole med school journey is
Mm.
as well, is learning from mistakes. What did I take from this? What would I do different next time? I mean, you will encounter that again and again in your 4 years in medical school and then again in your career. So I think that's even showcasing an important skill that they're looking for, that you can experience adversity or you can make a mistake and you can own it. Because also, let's talk about quality of care in medicine, right? You need to own your mistakes. You can't ignore them, hide from them, or be dishonest about them.
Lives are
And
literally
then
on the line.
literally,
Yeah.
yeah, in higher education, I used to say like, oh, well, this isn't kidneys and coolers in terms of like urgency. And then I worked for med school and I was like, oh, well, actually,
It kind of
sometimes it is literally a kidney and a cooler.
That's right. You're
Um,
training to have those kidney in a cooler experiences, and they want to know, what do you do when you're under fire, right? What do
yes.
you do when it's not easy and when you're backed into a corner? How do you handle these? And when you're trying to blame other people, you're trying to justify what happened, you're trying to hide the ball, it makes it look like you haven't done your work and you haven't made any changes and you're not ready for residence.
Oh, man, I was triggered. I was just triggered by everything that you just said. Because that's also a mark of maturity,
Mm.
right? That you can do all of those things. And there are definitely students in medical school that it takes them a while to get to that place. That doesn't necessarily come naturally. Who knows? Maybe it comes from kind of a fake it till you make it kind of place, right? That they felt like
Hold
they
on.
had to yes, they had to put on a show to make it to where they are, and they're trying to keep up that facade. I'm going to give everyone permission to not do that anymore, right? Be your authentic self, make mistakes, ask for help, learn from the things that happen to you and move forward, because that's where the tremendous growth is going to happen anyway. So let's all release the show. I mean, there's no need, truly.
No. No. You have the hubris to just assume that you know what a patient's going to say. You may not listen as well. You may miss something. You may have originally thought one thing, and you may have to change your mind in the course of the treatment. And so I think showcasing that when you've faced adversity is a way to show them that you're ready. The other thing is, I feel like a lot of first draft personal statements that I get from residency applicants can feel a little sterile and a little clinical. And this is, like Logan was saying, this is the juicy part of your app, right? Like if I'm a skimmer, if I'm, on that interview committee and I'm a skimmer, I'm gonna kind of glance through the personal information, the biographical stuff, the new and noteworthy, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're gonna look through all those things. And then I'm going to, as quickly as I can, get to that personal statement. And if it is a snooze fest, I'm bored. I'm bored by the app. I think maybe you're boring. I don't want to spend my time with you. What do you think about that?
I think that is 100% accurate. I,
Mm.
I think boring is probably the worst thing that you could be.
Yes.
I'd rather have you be brief, right? Like I'd rather have you be brief and a little mysterious than be long-winded and boring. I think particularly if you're playing in a surgical specialty, you're done. You're done.
Ooh, tell me about that. I don't really know like the nuance of the different specialties, so I am here for it. One of my talents, Logan, I don't know if you know this, it's not on my LinkedIn, so maybe you don't, but I can pretty much guess what someone's band instrument was once I meet them.
What
So,
was mine?
oh my gosh, give me just a minute. Were you a clarinet?
Yeah,
Are you kidding?
no.
Okay, I'm 3 for 3 this week. We've had two clients. We have a trumpet in our client list this week, and she like almost fell out of her chair. She was like, "What?" And I'm like, "I know, I can just tell." But it seems like you're maybe kind of like that with specialties, right? Look at her face. She's still a god.
Just thinking, I can't believe I put you on the spot
Huh?
on your own podcast.
Dang it. I
And
would have
this is going to be
edited it out. I would have edited
yes.
it out if I didn't get. No, I wouldn't have. I would have left it in. Because I own my mistakes, Logan. We just talked about
Yeah.
this.
You know what's interesting is I bet there's a correlation between band instrument and specialty.
Oh my
Let's be
God.
honest, trumpet players are surgeons. They just are.
Oh my gosh, that's what she wants to do. Logan, we
That's
should
it.
take this show on the road. This is so fun.
Let's get a grant. Let's do some research. This is, I can't believe nobody's done this before.
We should
Actually, they
start a
probably
Cosmo
have.
quiz, right? Like, what's your Enneagram? What's your zodiac? What was your band instrument? What's your like your position in choir? Like, what's your range? And then we can give you what we think your specialty should be.
Yes.
We were just talking about this too with law students. We could do the same. Like,
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
you
I
need
can
to do
spot a
this.
criminal defense person a mile
Yes.
away.
This is the content we need,
Yeah.
Like this is what we should be putting out
No
into the
one's
world.
talking about
Also,
the important part.
I like that you said Cosmo quiz, and I was about to say that's so outdated. It's really BuzzFeed quiz, but honestly, I think BuzzFeed is outdated at this point. So I'm
It
not sure
probably is.
what the new version is.
Whatever the kids are doing. A TikTok
TikTok
poll.
dance?
TikTok
Yeah,
poll. Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
TikTok, do they have polls there?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I'm told. I'm told you have them. Okay, so what do we know about specialties? Like, tell me, what's a little bit of the lore about surgeons?
Okay, so this is all, I mean, truly either rumor or my own personal observation. I feel like that should be the disclaimer.
Perfect.
Um, Surgeons, I honestly feel like just across the board, it doesn't matter general surgery, urology, OB-GYN, although I could probably dive deep into each of those specialties as well. They're, oh, what's the saying? Sometimes wrong, never in doubt. Whoops.
I think I may be raising one of those actually. That now that you.
So,
Mhm.
is there a law equivalent to that?
I'm not sure. All
Hmm.
of them? I'm just kidding.
All of them.
Oh,
However.
actually, now that you mention that, yeah, that probably is, that's just lawyers in general. Now that you mention it, sometimes
Lawyers are
wrong,
the
never in doubt.
surgeons of the professional world.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
I think your stereotypical attorney would be that. I think that's what most people think when they think of lawyers. And then there's people who aren't that way, and people are surprised that they are attorneys, right? Because they're like, "Oh, you're not litigious. You don't seem litigious. You don't seem, this certain way." So I would say it's the small specialty that everyone thinks is what makes an attorney is that personality, but there's actually a lot more attorneys that aren't necessarily that way.
That's right. That's
That
right.
makes sense, as I'm sure is the case with all of these stereotypes. Honestly, if you want to know the stereotypes, who nails it is Dr. Glaucoma Flecken on Instagram and I'm sure TikTok.
Ooh.
Are you all not following Dr. Glaucoma Flecken?
I'm sorry. Could you spell that for me? What is happening? What
Glaucoma, like
glaucoma
Glaucoma
like
grandma
you
has?
Flecken.
have eyes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
What is
on
that?
YouTube as well.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
that's where you can find and unfortunately pretty accurate. So, you know.
Okay. I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to dig.
that's where you should be getting your specialty stereotypes from because he really nails it. He also is a physician, so I feel like he's allowed.
He's speaking from the inside. Yes.
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 All of that to say that these specialties are they each kind of have their own flavor. They each have their own, and then every like location within that specialty residency experience is going to have its own personality and vibe that they're trying to pick up on. And if you are, oh my gosh, my best friend in high school dated this boy. He was so cute. He was so cute, and he was a twin. You know what I mean? Like you understand what I'm saying. But we went on a double date with him once when she started dating him. I was like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. Oh my gosh. We called him Dry Toast. He was the most boring, pretty boy I've ever known in my life. I'm sure he was so dear and sweet, but I've never been so bored in my life. And we still to this day, we text him. She's like, "Oh, remember, burnt dry toast." Sometimes he was burnt toast, but I said, "No, that's actually too much flavor. He's dry toast." And and if your application comes across like that, they're going to have six other people who are sparkly, fun, shiny, and that's who they're going to go with every single time. I was telling you all about a client who I worked with the cycle. They came to me after not being successful in the first round of match, and so we were in soap, which we should probably have our own application or our own episode on that. But we reworked their personal statement, and after no invites, they got 7 invites in soap and they got 6 offers. So, and it wasn't that anything markedly changed in their application. Like, obviously, like they had done everything academically they needed to do, but their storytelling was garbage. And once they incorporated this kind of like life-giving things that made them light up, things that made them have emotion, I think sometimes people think because it's an academic setting, it's not okay to emote.
Yes, I think that that is 100% the case.
Mhm.
And
People
there,
either-
it's so important.
Yeah.
Man, you put some butter and cinnamon on that toast. That's what you did. Maybe some dry
Exactly.
toast.
Lots of butter, lots of butter. And his story was there the whole time, right? He didn't know that that's what he needed to say and that's what he needed to talk about. And we stripped down and got to vulnerability too, like a little bit of vulnerability. I'm not saying, listen, I have horror stories about people being too vulnerable in the interview process. So that's not what we're talking about. But a little bit of, I didn't match in the first round and it was devastating. And so I think there's elements of showing that you're doing the work. And just like we tell our MS1 hopefuls, if it makes you light up when you're talking about it, this is why we do an hour-long intensive with all of our clients who come in, because I need to know what makes like your smile meet your eyes. I need to know when you're like your body language, you gets kind of twisted in your chair because you're telling me about these fruit flies that you were working with. And to me, it sounds so gross, but you're like all lit up about it. I want you talking about that in an interview. And you're not going to get asked about that in an interview if we don't put it in your application. And so we have to write the things that are going to be tethers for the interviewers to grab onto.
Were you
Absolutely.
talking about literal fruit flies?
Yes, Lysium. Yeah. Sometimes it's mealworms, sometimes it's fruit flies. It was some kind of like ALS research, which it was super cool. Like once they started describing what they're doing, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this is so powerful. I can't, but I mean, we geeked out for about 20 minutes on fruit flies in our intensive.
Yeah. And I think it's really hard for high achievers to talk about themselves and talk about the things that they've done
Yep.
because you don't want to be or there's you think you're being that annoying person that's being really braggy.
Uh-huh.
But like you said, these people are reading
This is
thousands
the
of
time to
applications.
toot your horn. This is the time.
Yeah.
Hmm? Yes. I am married to a high achiever. I don't mean to brag, but I am. And he is the most humble creature on the face of this planet. His hair alone makes me just want to smack him because it's ridiculous. Like he wakes up every morning with like these perfect curls, and here I am with my like stick straight hair. But he just had a really big achievement. I mean, we've shared about it on posts on social, so it's fine to talk about. So he is going to do a fellowship with the Supreme Court, like the US Supreme Court. He had me change in my post because I had like, he's got to, do a fellowship with the Supreme Court. He said to say the US Supreme Court. And I'm like, okay. Ooh, got it. Right. It's not state Supreme Court. It's like the US Supreme Court. And and so I was like talking to him about it the other night, and he was like, I don't really know what to say when people tell me congratulations. I'm just like, well, I don't really know how it happened. And I'm like, babe, like, own this. This is a huge moment for you. It's okay to say, I'm so excited. It's okay to say, like, I can't wait to do this or that, but like, you can't deflect every positive thing that comes your way. Like, that is just when you take down your superlatives a level when people are trying to lift you up, it just counterbalances. And I know we also don't want the raging narcissist part of this thing too, right? Where you write your application in such a way that you're like, I should already be in attending. There's a delicate balance. But I think Lizanne's right. I think so many of these high achievers downplay their achievements.
Speaking of band, my band director, I feel like, gave me the best piece of advice, which is that accepting a compliment is a skill
Mm,
and
mhm.
just saying thank you. That's all you have to say.
Yeah,
All
thank
you
you.
have to say is thank you.
Thank
I
you. That's
appreciate it.
exactly right. And the way you say thank you, the like kind of analog to this in your application is it's okay to talk about the things that you're passionate about, even if it's not exactly medical. It's okay to talk about the things in your life that you do spend your limited free time doing, about the things that you've done in your medical school career, in your journey to and through med school that you think are the most important. And even if they're super, super niche, chances are there's going to be some geeked out person on the other end of that application who is also geeked out on that or something similar. Or they're interested and want to know more about it, and y'all can geek out together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like this went from uh office hours to happy hour. This was, it
Oh my God.
started out as office hours
Yes,
and it went to grad missions happy hour. I mean, we talked
exactly.
about cute boys, we talked about what instrument are you?
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
this was a good one.
So here's my challenge to you. If you've been putting off booking a free application strategy call with me, um, come and stump me. Come to me and don't tell me what your band instrument was and see if I can guess what your band instrument was. We don't even have to talk about your application. We can just talk about band. I'm so fine with that. I'm a woodwind girly. I'm a flute. So, um, did you know?
I feel like I knew that.
I was a flute. Yes, I was also a flag because I didn't like the band hats. So this hair does not fit in a band hat. It's too big. So, y'all, we have chased lots of rabbits, but I think this has been so fun. And these are the vibes. Like, if you are down with these vibes, we can have a good old time building your application to law school, to med school, to residency. If you are way early in the game, we have programs that start. We can join up with you as early as your junior year of high school. So, if you think we sound like fun people who you would like to come and talk to about some of these giant decisions that you're making in your life, come on down. We would love to work with you. We are about to turn off the lights here in the pod loft, but they're always on our socials. Drop us a line. What do you want to hear about? Summer's a little bit of a free for all, and so we are taking podcast topics. Thanks for joining us, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.